What's up, everyone? Just wanted to take a quick moment to kick off this day. It's Friday, November the 14th. Want to do a quick market analysis, I guess, as we prepare for the start of the trading day. Once again, excited to at least have an opportunity to extract some money from the markets today, hopefully. And so we'll take a look at what's going on. I want to share my screen, though, so that we can take a look and see what's happening across some of the key tickers that I look at. So let me go ahead and share the screen here so we can see and be on the same page. So all right, let's go ahead and all right, we should be able to take a look at my trading view screen here. I want to take a look at three tickers. We'll start off with the SPY. We're on the 4-hour chart. Going to reset, remove all the drawings. And for those who are new, I typically trade and utilize the same process. I am trying to identify by way of the volume profile some of the balance areas that we should be aware of. And so I use rectangles to really take a look at where the trading volume is taking place in the market. And I do that analysis based off of the past month, sometimes 3 to 4 weeks worth of data, in order to assess where those volume pockets may exist in the market. And so you see me marking up here on the charts the locations where the high volume nodes, and those that aren't familiar with the volume profile, the high volume nodes are where the greatest levels of transactions have taken place in the market over a specified period of time or a specified range of data. And so I'm taking a look at that as we speak right now. And so I'm just kind of blocking off those zones as seen using the visible range volume profile here on the right side of the screen. Each one of these protrusions represents significant volumes of transactions that have taken place. And I want to capture that. I want to see where those activities have taken place. And that way, when we get back to those levels or those ranges, we expect something, some kind of market reaction to take place at those respective levels. And I want to be aware of it. So this is how I capture that by using these rectangles, and that shows the high volume node areas. All right. Secondly, on the 4-hour chart, I also look to identify some of the swing highs and swing lows, which will indicate levels where we may see some liquidity in the market. And so with that being the case, let me go ahead and kind of highlight this swing high and that swing low. And then for the immediate, some of the internal range liquidity levels, the swing highs and the swing lows on either the daily or the 4-hour chart will represent some of the external levels. But inside of those ranges, they have various internal levels of liquidity that we can also take a look at. And so sometimes I will mark those off so that I have visibility to what's happening. So right now, we've done this for SPY on the 4-hour chart. And then simply when we get to a place of execution, I'll drop down to the 15-minute chart and I will utilize the levels that have been targeted to make some determinations on when and where to get into the market. And so that is typically how I approach the market. And those who have studied under my program understand that that's the case as well. So these are some of the key levels that we'll be looking at, or I'll be looking at for SPY today as we jump off into the markets. But just to make note, we closed yesterday at 672.07. That was the closing price, but the pre-market today has us at 665.55. So there'll be a common theme across all of the three tickers that we'll look at today. Um, Everything is down, and ultimately we see that there's blood in the water. So we want to kind of keep an eye on that as we are approaching the market. It will be very interesting to take counter trend trades based off of what we see. The trend of this is currently down. We'll see a gap down once the market opens up, and it'll be interesting to see how the market responds. So that's what we'll be taking a look at. This is the price action as we closed yesterday, but based off of where we are today, we're going to operate somewhere in this range as we kick off the market. So I'll be keeping an eye on things to see if we are able to hold below this zone and then look to push down into this zone, or if we're going to break back up and then try to uh, close the gap, fill the gap, and then come back into this zone of balance based off of the macro composite visible range volume profile. So that's SPY. And so this will be kind of the two. We're going to open up down here. So that'll be one zone I'll take a look at. Are we going to come down and kind of fill into this zone? I'll be looking to take some shorts or exploring shorts as we enter into this zone. Once again, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing information for educational purposes only. And you are entitled, or I'm encouraging you to do your own research. I'm just kind of sharing my approach to the market. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, let's go ahead and drop down to the Qs, triple Qs, go back up to the 4 hour chart and see what we have here. Looks like we have pretty much these zones have already been taken care of. I did do some of this analysis yesterday, so I won't necessarily take time to redo these zones. I just want to make sure that I have enough range to pull those out and make sure that they cover through at least the end of today. All right, so we'll drag this over. And so these will be some of the areas that we look at as a part of kicking off today's trading sessions. So we have that one captured, have a lower zone here. We have this zone here that I have captured as one. As we did with SPY, we see that yesterday closed at 608.35 and we're opening today at 599.55, a significant gap down. And so we have to make sure that we keep an eye on what we or how the market responds to that. It looks like we're going to start in this lower zone. And if we were to break to the downside, let me see if we can at least have some kind of zone to target to the downside. And so let's capture this slight protrusion there. That would be another zone if it were to continue to the downside that we would look to target. So that's that. We got the swing low. We got this swing high was already taken out. I'll actually just move that one to there. Leave that there. All right, cool. So we have some targets that we can go after once the market starts. So that is triple Q, and then everybody's darling here recently within our group will be AMD. So let me go ahead and just kind of erase the drawings there. Once again, 4 hour chart. We'll go ahead and capture where the significant volume areas or zones are currently, and those are what we would refer to as potential balance areas. And we want to pay particular attention to those as the market moves into those zones. And we'll either gain acceptance into those levels or we will reject out and explore pursuing the next level above or below. And if we're at all-time highs, then we will look to create a new one at a respective price level, so on and so forth. So here's what we're looking at right now. Capture those once again. These rectangles capture the high volume nodes where significant buying and selling is taking place. We know that institutional presence exists here because of the volumes, and we want to pay particular attention to those. So that's where we are there. Let me go ahead and mark out my swing highs. That's an external range. Liquidity swing high, that's an external range. Liquidity swing low. I want to capture some of the internal ranges to the up and to the downside. So let's go there, and here. Once again, yesterday and AMD closed at 247.99, and right now we're looking to project open in the pre-market at 240. So once again, a significant gap down. Is the market going to respond positively and look to fill those gaps, or is it going to continue to the downside? That's what we have to observe as traders. We're not going to predict the market, we're going to respond to the activity of the market. So these are some of the zones, once again, that I'll be looking at as we kick off today's trading sessions. And hopefully, this will help you understand my approach to the market, my group's approach to the market, and looking at key zones to trade in and whether we gain acceptance back into those zones or if they reject the zones and then look to move to the downside or the upside. That's typically how I approach the market each and every day, no matter what ticker. I do all my markups on the 4 hour chart, and then we'll drop down to the 15-minute chart for entries and exits. And so that's typically how I do it. Hopefully, this gets you set up at least mentally for QQQ, SPY, and AMD to start the day. And I'll do the same for all of the other tickers that I trade as well. But I wanted to just capture these as a part of our kickoff today. Once again, the markets in the pre-market time period is down, and so we want to make sure that we capture and keep an eye on that as we move forward. As always, enjoy having the opportunity, the privilege to share with you, and look forward to another productive trading day, especially in the KP Trading Group. All right, take care.